This is the 14th program in the series Introduction to Counseling. It is about group counseling. In other programs in this series, counseling has been defined as a one-to-one relationship. This program deals with group counseling, or one person helping many people. Group counseling, like individual counseling, is valuable only for people who do not have serious emotional problems or disorders. As in any counseling situation, each group member is concerned with his own present problem. The task of the counselor is to help the group members. In certain group counseling situations, the members may be working for a personality change. Such a goal is called a therapy goal. In other groups, members are simply trying to learn to better use the resources available to them. This is called a counseling goal. What may group counseling help to solve? The personality change goal is often found in groups known as T groups or encounter groups. Members of such groups usually wish to become more sensitive to others and to learn more about themselves. Working toward a personality change is what type of goal? Personality change groups have received much publicity in recent years. This program, however, is concerned with groups having counseling goals, groups in which the aim of the members is to deal with their present problems by better using their own resources. Of course, in order to form a productive counseling group, the counselees must have some common problems and goals. But even in group situations, the counselor expects that each counselee will have a personal goal as well. For example, group members might decide that their common problem is test performance. But while one member of the group studies so much and becomes so nervous that he freezes during an exam, another member may simply fail to study and thus perform poorly on the test. What type of goals should group members have? Yes. While in this group test performance is the common problem, each counselee has a personal view. As all members share their perspectives on the problem, they will gain understanding of it and hopefully learn to improve their own performance. One advantage of group counseling is that it uses the counselor's time more economically while still helping individuals reach their goals. A second advantage is that groups provide a protected setting where members may practice their newly acquired skills. Group counseling has other uses. One of the most fundamental is to help counselees realize that they are not alone in facing problems. As others in the group share their problems and feelings, the counselee can gain a better understanding of himself and his place in society. What is one advantage of group counseling? Group counseling can help members gain a better understanding of themselves and their problems. Facing a problem is often easier when others are facing it too, and of course, confronting a problem is the first step in solving it. Sometimes a person who needs individual counseling is afraid to seek it. In such a case, a group may be established to discuss the counseling process and the value of individual counseling. One use of group counseling is what? Just as vocational counseling is often the subject of individual counseling, it is also frequently the purpose of a group session. In such cases, the group would not deal with specific vocational choices, but with general vocational development. Groups are often the most economical way to convey information. For example, test results and interpretations are frequently explained in group situations. Academic or work problems can also be treated effectively in groups. What is another common subject of group counseling? Groups also may motivate members to make necessary changes. If a counselee fails to respond to treatment on an individual basis, only two people know. But fear of failure in front of a group can be a very effective motivation, and when this motivation can be accepted without undue tension, it is quite useful. Even professional counselors require training in order to work well with groups. Working with groups is especially difficult because there is interaction not only between counselor and each counselee, but also among the counselees themselves. It is important for the prospective counselor to understand the nature of the group. Research is still incomplete about the nature of groups. It is known, however, that the size of the group is an important consideration. A group should not be so large that interaction among all members becomes difficult. 10 to 20 is probably the maximum number of members a group can have and still function effectively. In group counseling, interaction occurs between whom? On the other hand, the group should not be so small that it may be dominated by one person. 5 group members is a suggested minimum. What is one danger of a large group? The ideal group is large enough to provide a variety of individuals while still permitting group interaction. Many counselors agree that 5 to 9 persons is an ideal group size, with the maximum not to exceed 17. Counselors use the term open group to describe a group that people can leave or join at will. In a closed group, all members must remain until they decide as a group to disband. Once a closed group is started, no new members can join. For counseling purposes, a closed group is preferable. Since the members share a common goal, all should be willing to continue until the problem is resolved or the goal reached. Also, rapport in a group can be disrupted by new members. What does open group mean? Rapport is an important factor in a group counseling situation. Rapport may be defined as a feeling of mutual trust. Once a group of the proper size is formed, the counselor must establish rapport with each member of the group. Concentrating on certain group members while ignoring others tends to arouse resentment and cause the group to fail. To establish this rapport, the counselor must respect the members of the group, trust them, have confidence in their ability to reach their goals, and respect each member's contribution to problem solving. With which members of the group must the counselor establish rapport? As the counselor functions in this way, members of the group will realize it is a place where they can safely express ideas and opinions and receive honest reactions. They may then begin to assume more of the responsibility for the effective functioning of the group. In order to establish rapport, the counselor must do what? The counselor should encourage the group to assume this responsibility. Rather than allowing the group to rely on him for leadership, the counselor must encourage group members to feel that they're capable of taking over and directing their own progress. One way to do this is by rewording questions that are directed to the counselor and directing them back to the group. There are other techniques which are especially effective in group counseling. One technique is case discussion, in which the group focuses on one person's problem and helps that person to reach an answer or make a decision. What is one way the counselor encourages the group to assume responsibility? Role-playing is another technique widely used in group counseling. In role-playing, members of the group try to solve a problem situation by taking parts and acting it out. In role-playing, a person first identifies a situation or occurrence in his own life which he feels is caused or related to his problem. He describes how each person reacted and seemed to feel in the original situation. Then volunteers are selected to play each part. Often the person who has identified the situation also participates in the role-playing, acting out a role different from the one he played in the original situation. Role-playing allows the counselee to relate information and feelings that he might otherwise have been unable to share with others. It also helps the person to disclose feelings that he had not admitted having, to experiment with new ways of handling situations, and to practice learned behavior. The other persons involved also have a safe way to try new behavior or to gain insight into relationships between people. For example, an employee playing an employer's role may develop a better understanding of some of the problems employers face. What is one benefit of role-playing? Role-playing is only one technique useful in group counseling. As counselees become increasingly confident about the group, they should be able to discuss their problems more openly. As a group member discusses his feelings or tries out new behaviors, it is the task of the rest of the group to react honestly to what they see and hear. The counselee may then use the verbal and nonverbal responses of the group to judge his own behavior. There are some problems associated with group counseling. One important disadvantage is that it makes great demands on the counselor's skills and energies and reduces his control of the situation. What is one function of the counseling group? Some groups may have disruptive individuals as members, of course, or a member who progresses much more slowly than the others. Sometimes members of the group fear that what they say will not remain confidential. Despite these and other problems, group counseling, when capably directed, can be effective. What is one major problem in group counseling? Even though knowledge about group counseling is far from complete, this method has already shown itself to be an important and effective type of counseling, and it has applications beyond the formation of formal groups by professional counselors. Some informal groups have been and will be useful to their members. The concepts of group dynamics discussed in this program are also applicable to groups with purposes other than counseling. Managerial conferences will often use group techniques in an effort to promote company solidarity or solve company problems. Is it essential to be effective that groups be led by a person with trained counseling skills? Although studying this program will not qualify you to be a professional group counselor, the concepts presented here should help you in dealing with day-to-day group working situations, as well as making you a more effective member of any problem-solving group.